Good afternoon and welcome once again to our celebration assembly as we look to say well done to some of our pupils who have produced some marvellous work. And we will start today with our youngest pupils in Ash class. And we have Lewis here, who quite clearly has been working on his maths. And I like the way, Lewis, you've used the Lego to support your learning. And it looks terrific, accurate, and well done to you. Dylan here has also been working very, very hard in maths this week. And this example is where Dylan has used a part-whole model to support his understanding of the number 5. And it looks like you've also had some extra help from some dinosaurs as well. I hope they were useful, and well done, Dylan. In Cherry class, we have Theo, who has been using some dice to generate 2- and 3-digit numbers, which we can see on those 2 sheets. And he's been comparing them with the less than and greater than symbol very, very accurately. And I also hear you really enjoyed this task, which is really pleasing to hear. Top work, Theo. Also in Cherry, we have Charlie, who's produced a very neatly presented missing poster. And this poster was based upon the book they've been following called Not Now, Bernard. And you described the young boy, Bernard, and you end with a very generous reward of £1,000. Lovely work. In Maple class, Gelliot here has produced a lovely short story, which was based upon a journey to school using a zip wire, and he's described what he could hear, smell and see quite vividly. It opens with this sentence: "As I ripped past the meadow, I could smell the beautiful flowers." And throughout, you've really been thinking carefully about the language you've used, and I spotted some adjectives such as dull and gloomy, which were quite impressive. Well done, Gelliot. In Maple class, they've been looking in maths on perimeter, and you can clearly see here that young Riley has demonstrated a really good understanding of this topic from looking at these specific questions. And I was lucky enough to work with Riley the following day when he was looking at more challenging work of perimeter of compound shapes, and he succeeded there too. So very clearly a keen and able mathematician. In Oak class, they've been studying some Shakespeare, looking at the story of Macbeth. And on one day, they looked at constructing some rhyming couplets based upon the witch's chant. I had a good look at your poem, Lucy. I was very happy with it. And I particularly like one of your rhyming couplets towards the end. "Witches' voices cackle, listen to the cauldron crackle." I love it. And Freddie has produced a different piece of writing, again, based upon Macbeth, and he's constructed a play script, opening with Act 1, Scene 1. And he's got all the features you'd expect to see on this opening page. It starts with the setting the scene. It was a cold, stormy night, and Macbeth came out of the smoke looking brave. He could see 2 figures in the distance. And he follows that with the correct setting out of the speech without inverted commas, but we got the colon. You also include lots of examples of stage directions in brackets. You've had a good week. Well done, Freddie. And I show this image because, of course, we are in lockdown with various restrictions placed upon our lives. And I'd like to wish you all well. And I think it's also perhaps a particularly difficult time for anyone who's living alone or maybe away from their family. And I think it's a time where we need to really look out for each other and those in our community who perhaps are in some need at the moment. And I was lucky enough to hear from one of our pupils who's done just that. Noah here has his very first pen pal, and this is the first letter he's written. It's a letter to an elderly gentleman called Norman, who's 81 years old. I hope you don't mind me mentioning your age, Norman, if you're watching this broadcast. And the letter, Noah tells me a little bit about himself and asks lots of questions. And I reckon Norman will be really pleased and delighted to receive this letter from you. And I bet you can't wait to get a reply. A good example of looking out for others in need at this difficult time. Well done, Noah. And finally, we need to say goodbye and thank you to Mrs. Finney. It's a difficult day for us in school today as we wish her the very best and lose a member of staff who's worked here diligently for 7 years. And I have witnessed myself firsthand over the last 3 weeks, the care and attention that she puts into her work, the compassion that she shows for the pupils that she's working with, who always respond positively. And I know you've made a huge impact with our swimming here, having taught the lessons across the school, and it's going to be very difficult to replace you. So thank you, Mrs. Finney, and all the best for the future. And that ends our celebration assembly this week. Everybody have a lovely weekend, enjoy the sunny weather, and don't forget to stay safe and look after each other. Goodbye.